What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Fire Sports Takes podcast. On today's episode, we're talking about the biggest winners and losers in the NFC conference this off season. And I also want to preface, I led yesterday's show with this. We're going to talk about it today. I love that football feels back. This little OTA, this little mini camp period just feels like a little bit of a cock tease for when training camp does roll around. And I said this last year. I'll say this take every time around this year, around this time of year. I live for the NFL training camp and minicamp practice updates because Cade Klubnik of the New York Jets was 4 for 4 in 7-on-7, and he was 6 for 6 in 11-on-11 in team drills today. Cade Klubnik did not throw an interception. Naturally, this has me thinking some unhealthy thoughts about the New York Jets' future with Cade Klubnik, unhealthy thoughts about the New York Jets' offense with Frank Reich because Garrett Wilson and Geno Smith were glazing this offense. And this is the time of year when those unhealthy thoughts start to creep in, like, maybe the Jets make the playoff. Maybe this is the year to make the playoff. Maybe they're the fun, frisky, worst to first team that comes around every single year, right? A couple of years ago, it was the Browns and the Texans when Joe Flacco came out of nowhere. Last year, it was the Bears. The year before that, or last year was the Patriots. The year before that, who was it the year before that? I don't even fucking remember. Either way, there's always a team that comes out of nowhere. Why not? Well, eventually it's got to be the Jets, right? Eventually. And I was thinking Geno Smith might set some Jets franchise passing records this season. And that's not a great accomplishment because the Jets' highest passing yards in a season by a quarterback is 4,007 yards. Joe Namath. The most passing touchdowns is 31. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Geno Smith has gone over those totals in his career before, and he's not that far removed from those passing yard numbers. You look at the Jets offense, Garrett Wilson, A.D. Mitchell, Omar Cooper Jr., Kenyon Sadiq, Breece Hall, Olufashanu Armand Membu, Joe Tippmann. Like, their offensive line is pretty good. Pretty good. Should be better because it's so young, they're only going to continue to ascend. Geno Smith was throwing the ball to Trey Tucker and Jack Beck last year behind the worst offensive line in the sport with no semblance of a run game, and Brock Bowers missed a lot of time. Now he comes to an offense with an established offensive line. It's infinitely better than the offensive line he played behind last year. Garrett Wilson's better than any receiver he was throwing the football to last year. A.D. Mitchell and Omar Cooper Jr. would have been the best receivers on the Raiders last year after the Jacoby Myers trade. Those are wide receivers 2 and 3 on the New York Jets, plus Breece Hall. The defense stinks. The starting corners are Jarvis Brownlee and Deshaun Wright and Brandon Stevens. So it's going to be a lot of shootouts. Geno Smith's going to be playing from behind a lot. Why can't Geno Smith set some passing records for this New York Jets franchise next season? I think it's completely plausible. I think I'd be shocked if he didn't have like 4,000 yards because of the nature of the way this team is constructed right now. It's not going to be like the Robert Saleh eras or Zach Wilson's squeaky. If this team were to be successful, obviously. They could win 4 games and he could still break all these records because that's how bad the defense might be next year. Like, you're relying, like, the Jets fans, I think some of them are getting a little bit too deluded to be like, I think our defense is going to be, but no. I mean, we're relying on Mika Fitzpatrick and Demario Davis. Demario Davis is 37 years old, man. What are you doing? Our best edge rusher is Will McDonald. He can't set the edge of the run game. Yeah, but they did make some upgrades with the guy from Cincinnati, David Onyemata from Atlanta. They made some up with Devondre Sweat from Tennessee to like improve their run defense, but their defense is not going to be good. It's going to be better than what it was last year. It was the worst in the league last year after like week 8. So I'm not like bullish on this Jets defense. I am a little bit bullish on the Jets offense. I think Geno had a bad year last year, obviously, but the Raiders also were a bad team. I think the Jets offense is way more talented than the Raiders offense was last year. Take Garrett Wilson in fantasy. But that all ties back to where I led this episode off with, like, I think we're in a dangerous part of the year because I see these training camp, minicamp notifications. Like, oh, Cade Klubnik didn't throw an incompletion in team drills. The Jets are back. And that's just not a place I want to be. I'm setting myself up for failure. Counterpoint, it would be pretty Jets to have like their one good season the year where there's a gazillion quarterbacks that are going to go in the top 5, top 10, and the Jets make the playoffs. They're drafting 20th. Like this, that would be so on par with the Jets franchise that Geno Smith pulls a rabbit out of a hat. The Jets go to the playoffs, get obliterated in the first round. They're picking 17. They miss out on all the elite quarterbacks, and they're back to the fucking drawing board in 2028 with all of these first round picks used on great skill players, but they don't have a quarterback. And then you end up 7-10, 7-4 going in to week 14, and you somehow still miss the playoffs. Zach Wilson, Robert Saleh, 2022 New York Jets. Like Jets fans are reminiscent about a 7-win football. So you know it's gotten bad around here. But either way, that's the fun part of minicamp is you do kind of start to see the pre-narrative narratives, if you will. The pre-narrative narratives for training camp that is coming up. We do have some stories too, which is always fun. JJ McCarthy seems like an absolute pussy, dude. I can't stand that guy. Awful. Called himself number 9. Yeah, when it's not JJ on the field, it's 9. And then he proceeds to talk about Kyler Murray like he's a classmate. Like he's a guy that he doesn't really associate with, but they just have to go to work together. Like JJ McCarthy referred to Kyler Murray like that, like he's Dwight Schrute. And JJ McCarthy's Jim Halpert. That's disrespectful to the relationship Jim Halpert and Dwight Schrute have, actually, because they're good friends. JJ McCarthy described Kyler Murray and his relationship like Michael Scott and Toby's from The Office. Yeah, we work together. We don't like each other. It's awkward. I hate him. And Kyler talked about it like, yeah, I like JJ. He's absorbing. He's asking. I don't feel like a rookie. I don't feel like a youngin anymore. I am a veteran, even though I don't feel like it, but I'm still going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm still going to give him some advice when he asks for it. JJ's like, yeah, it just feels like we're classmates competing. You're not fucking competing, JJ. JJ McCarthy, you haven't proven a thing at the collegiate level as a quarterback, as a thrower of the football. You got drafted 13th overall because you were on one of the most loaded rosters and got carried by Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum. That's why you got picked 13th overall. You did nothing as a passer. Kyler Murray won a Heisman. Kyler Murray was the number 1 overall pick. Kyler Murray has put together solid NFL seasons. JJ McCarthy has not done fuck all. And he's talking about him and Kyler like they're equals. Yeah, no, you're not equals. You're going to be his backup. You're going to be holding a clipboard. Shut the fuck up. You cornball. He's so annoying. Am I mad because I had a lot of Justin Jefferson's stake last year? Yes. Am I mad because I have Justin Jefferson's stake in Dynasty Fantasy Football Leagues and JJ McCarthy sold them last year? Yes. Am I also mad because I don't like JJ McCarthy? I think he's a cornball little pussy? Yes. I don't know the guy. This is all anything I've seen on the media. He seems really annoying. And I don't know. He really rubbed me the wrong way the way he talked about Kyler Murray. But I have a little bit of respect. I know Kyler Murray's not Tom Brady, but he's done great things in this league. He's done great things as a football player. You've done fuck all. You got carried every step of the way, bro. You got carried at IMG Academy. You got carried at Michigan. You weren't even good enough to get carried on a team that won 15 games last year. You made them look worse. So I don't want to hear anything about a JJ McCarthy. He's a winner. Shut up. CJ Stroud got a haircut. Makes him look goofy. I kind of like it. He's locked in. I think all of the greats cut off their long hair, and then they proceed to do great things. Aaron Rodgers cuts off the long hair, MVP. Tom Brady cuts off the long hair, MVP, Super Bowl. Trevor Lawrence just cut his hair as well. Hashtag noticing. Patrick Mahomes, full participant, usual workload Thursday at an OTA practice, albeit it is an OTA practice, but it's just good to see Mahomes is going. Patrick Mahomes is going to light this fucking league on fire. Give him comeback player of the year. Give him offensive player of the year. Give him the MVP. Give him a Super Bowl MVP. Just give it to him now. I mean, he's already basically a full participant at OTAs. He's going to be a participant in training camp, barring any setbacks. Look the fuck out. And now we have a Game 7. I wasn't able to watch the Oklahoma City and San Antonio Spurs Game 6. I was not able to watch it. I did turn it on with like a minute to go in the third quarter. Route belt fucking ass. Stephon Castle is just a dog. Victor Wembanyama is just a dog. And I called this yesterday, chat. What the fuck did I say yesterday? Take the Spurs. I think I predicted 5 out of the 6 games of this series correctly from a betting standpoint. Hottest man in America. I don't have a play for Game 7. I don't. I'm just going to watch it and root for the Spurs, ride my finals MVP pick. I just hope it's a close game. I hate a Game 7 blowout. They're so boring. Nobody likes it. Let's just lock in. Let's have a good game. Let's talk about these NFC offseason winners and losers. The biggest winner of the offseason in the NFC has to be the Los Angeles Rams. They upgraded at the one position of need that held them back in the playoffs, and that was corner. Trent McDuffie is better than Kobe Durant. Jalen Watson is better than Emmanuel Forbes. They upgraded at both of those positions. Their defense could be almost as good as their offense next year, and they brought back everybody on their offense besides Havenstein, the right tackle. But McClendon, the right tackle that played when Havenstein went down last year for LA, was more than serviceable. So the Rams are going to be a problem. Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk, Poona Ford, Jared Verse, Byron Young, Nate Peanut Punch Landman behind those guys. And then you have a secondary of Cam Curl, Cam Kitchens, Jalen Watson, Trent McDuffie. That is nasty. The Rams should be the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl. Their offense is going to be just as good as long as Puka Nakua's recovery goes well, and he's playing in Week 1, and he's not an alcoholic. That'd be detrimental to the Rams' postseason and Super Bowl hopes. My only concern is special teams, Joe. That's what cost them. They have had the worst special teams rating over the last 5 years. Fix it. Don't muff a punt against Seattle. You probably win a Super Bowl last year. I don't know how they addressed it. I don't know if they addressed it, but they needed to address it. The real thing is though, they addressed the biggest need, and that was corner. And they got a guy in Trent McDuffie who did have a little bit of a down year last year, a 94 passer rating when allowed, only 4 pass breakups. The turnover numbers weren't there weren't there a whole lot, but he is one of the most sure-handed tacklers, or the most sure tacklers at the cornerback position. He had 2 All-Pros back-to-back in 23 and 24. He's great in coverage. He can play in the nickel. He can play on the outside. He can put his nose in the dirt, or he can not nose in the dirt. That's like referencing hand in the dirt. It's late. It's late, guys. It's late. I'm fucking tired. It's late. But either way, the Rams absolutely cooked. I think they should be the favorite to win the Super Bowl next year. The other winner, and we talked about him a little bit earlier in today's podcast, but the Minnesota Vikings got Kyler Murray for $1.3 million fucking dollars. That's an instant upgrade. This team with competent quarterback play won 15 games only 2 years ago. Kyler Murray is competent quarterback play. They should win 13, 14 games next year. I think if Kyler Murray loves football, they're a genuine Super Bowl contender. And Jawan Jennings is an upgrade at wide receiver 3 over Jalen Naylor. They also drafted Damon Claiborne, who is finally some explosiveness, some home run hitting ability in this RB room out of Wake Forest, ran in the 4.3s. Him, Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones, Damon Claiborne gives you the best chance of taking an outside zone play to the house, right? They also did not lose anyone too bad. Jonathan Allen was not good for them last year. Javon Hargrave was not great for them last year. Jonathan Grenard, that's tough a little bit, but they addressed their defensive line through the draft with Caleb Banks, who was a lead upside, Dominique Orange, who can be that high floor player that you're going to get right away, and then Jack Galday, this is the linebacker from Cincinnati they took in the second round. Nasty. Like a 10% missed tackle rate across his entire collegiate career. Nasty. Sideline to sideline, a lead in coverage. Started as an edge rusher, too, so he has some of that in his bag as well. This is a guy that's going to fill up the stat sheet, put him next to Blake Cashman, and forget about it on this defense. They also took the safety, Jacoby Thomas is his name? I think, yeah, Jacoby Thomas, one of the best blitzing safeties in the NFL, who blitzes more than Brian Flores. They also took Caleb Tiernan, the offensive tackle at a Northwestern, who can be a swing tackle right away. And that's the biggest problem with this offensive line in Minnesota is Darisaw and Brian O'Neill can't stay healthy. Now you get a replacement for him, and they took a guard in the middle rounds as well. And if you take offensive line in the middle rounds, if you take trenches in the middle rounds, I'm going to be a fan of your draft no matter what the fuck you do, because that is my philosophy. That's a hill I will die on. You don't waste those middle round picks on a running back or a receiver. You waste them. You want to get dart throws on positions that are on the fucking field, on positions that directly impact football games. That is offensive lineman. That is defensive lineman. And that's exactly what they did in the mid to late rounds. So if they get healthier on the offensive line, if Kyler likes to play football, this Vikings team is good enough. They can win 13, 14 games. They can win the NFC North. They can make a push in the playoffs. As long as Kyler Murray likes football, and they should probably just cut JJ McCarthy at this point because he's just bad vibes, annoying, bad at football, never proven a thing on a football field his entire life. Even though he is a national champion, he got carried by Blake Cormy. He was a handoff king. Now, some losers. I think the easiest loser for me is the Seattle Seahawks. And I still think they're going to be really good. They just won the Super Bowl. But they lost Boye Mafe, they lost Kobe Bryant, they lost Kenneth Walker, and they lost their offensive coordinator. So I think we are due for a little bit of regression in Seattle. And I don't think they had a relatively good draft. I don't like the contract that they gave Rashid Shaheed. I don't like taking Jadarian Price that early. I think they have some holes at the edge rusher position. I think the interior of the defensive line is going to be solid. But I think they also lost Tariq Woolen in the back end. So no Tariq Woolen, no Kobe Bryant. You still have like Julian Love, Spoon, Nick Eamon Ward. Like they still have plenty of guys. I think the defense is still going to be really good. But they did lose a bunch of key starters on that Super Bowl roster, and Jadarian Price could probably give you Kenneth Walker type production right away, but he was the Super Bowl MVP for a reason, mate. So it remains to be seen with Seattle. I think they just lost a lot of guys, which is going to happen after you win a Super Bowl because you have a lot of good players and they want to go get paid. So rightfully so. I don't think they go back to back. I just don't think they're that good. But it's hard to call them losers. Like they just lost guys. Like it's just, I don't think there's as many losers in the NFC that like made bad moves that I'm like, oh, I hate that. Like the Saints made some questionable moves. Like the ETN move was weird, but like I look at the Saints now and I'm like, I honestly think they're in a really good spot because of how good they draft usually. So like I called the Saints free agency losers, but I think they had a terrific draft, so I'm not going to call them offseason losers. Just Seattle. And then this can be a controversial one, but I think the Eagles have lost this offseason just a little bit because of how good the rest of their division is getting. Because the Cowboys don't look now, they have the best roster in that division now. They have the best roster in that division. Caleb Downs, dog. Day one starter, slot safety, linebacker, edge rusher. He's not just a safety. If you think that about Caleb Downs, you didn't watch Ohio State. They got better. Jalen Hawkins, the safety from Arizona, comes over. Kobe Durant, the corner from LA, comes over. That's better than what they had last year. Savon Ravella as well, second-year player out of ECU, was a guy I was really high on in the 2024 draft. Or 2025 draft. Don't sleep on him if he's healthy this year. And then obviously DeRon Bland needs to stay on the field as well. And that's the weakness of this defense is the secondary. But defensively, Rashawn Gary, Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, DeMarion Overshown, Malachi Lawrence at the end of the first round, who was a really productive edge rusher at UCF his junior and senior year, or sophomore and junior year. I don't remember which one. And then year two, Donovan Izaraku is like all of a sudden the Cowboys defense, the front seven especially, is looking really solid. They already had the best offense in the NFL last year. That offensive line is incredibly young as well, only getting older. Javonte Williams, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, probably the best wide receiver duo in the league besides Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. But even that is an argument now, the way George Pickens played last year. So I think the Cowboys are the best roster in the division. I think the Eagles are going to lose A.J. Brown. They lost Jalen Phillips. Although I do think Jonathan Grenard's an upgrade as a pass rusher, probably not as an edge setter in the run game. Tariq Woolen is an upgrade over Adoree Jackson, but how much of an upgrade is that? It's a 1-year prove-it deal for a reason. So their defense should be a little bit better. But remember, before they traded for Jalen Phillips last year, the defense had a lot of problems. They had a lot of problems. I don't like their guys off the edge, quite frankly. I just don't. I don't think they have a lot of real presence. Eagles fans will tell you it's Nolan Smith. I don't buy that. They also lost Nakobe Dean, so now they have a little bit less depth at linebacker. But Zach Bond and Jahad Campbell is one of the best LB rooms in the NFL. The interior of the defensive line should be really good. So they should be really, really stout up the middle. Cooper Jean, Quinyon Mitchell, Tariq Woolen should be a more than formidable cornerback room, although Tariq Woolen has some concerns. Cooper Jean's just unbelievable. Like I thought he was a little bit overrated after his rookie year. He took his game to a whole nother level last year. He is a dog, no disputing that. Quinyon Mitchell, I think, is a top 3 corner in the NFL as well. So their defense should still be really good. Vic Fangio's still in the building. But a part of this Eagles team that doesn't get talked enough is their offensive line play was dropped dramatically last year. Career high in sacks for Jalen Hurts. Saquon Barkley went from 5.7 yards a carry to 4.1 yards a carry. And it's not on the tackles. Like Lane Johnson's old. He's not going to play a full season. I'd be shocked if he plays a full season. Jordan Mailata is still a really solid player. So their tackles are good when they're on the field. But the interior of that offensive line was just not good last year. Tyler Steen is average. Cam Jurgens is just awful. And then Landon Dickerson couldn't stay healthy. So the age is starting to catch up to the Eagles offensive line, and that was on full display last year. And I think that's part of the reason we saw Jalen Hurts take a little bit of a step back. It's because the run game wasn't as efficient. He didn't have as much time in the pocket as he's accustomed to because he's been playing behind one of the best offensive lines in the NFL for the past 3, 4, 5 seasons. So I think the Eagles are a little bit losers this offseason because they didn't do a whole lot to get better. and they're probably going to get worse offensively. I understand Mekhi Lemon is a great player, great prospect, but he's not fucking A.J. Brown. So they're going to lose A.J. Brown. They're going to get Mekhi Lemon as his replacement. That's fine. That's a good replacement. But like right away, you're going to feel that stretching the field. You're going to feel that impact stretching the field. He's not going to take it. Like, well, he could take a slant to the house, but he's not A.J. Brown, right? And on top of that, you have the Cowboys that got better. The Giants bring in Harbaugh. They bring in Arvell Reese. They bring in Tremaine Edmonds. They bring in Francis Mauigoa. Year 2 Jackson Dart. Malik Neighbors comes back from injury, hopefully. There was a little bit of hiccup with his knee surgery. They bring in Darnell Mooney, who's an upgrade at wide receiver too, over Darius Slay, and maybe not an upgrade over Wando Robinson, but either way, their offensive line should be better. Jermaine Illuminor, Andrew Thomas. They have Cam Scatterby, Tyrone Tracy, Jim Harbaugh in the building. I think that the Giants are going to be better this year than they were last year as well. Year 2, Abdul Carter. Brian Burns was a top 3 edge in the league last year. They bring in DJ Reader to replace Dexter Lawrence. I think that's fine. It's more than serviceable. And then Arvell Reese and Tremaine Edmonds are 2 upgrades at their worst positions last year, which was Michael McFadden and Bobby Okereke, the 2 off-ball linebackers. So I really do like the Giants. I think I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but they're going to be better next year. And the Commanders defensively, they got way younger. Leo Chenal from Kansas City, dog. Nick Cross from Indianapolis, dog. Odafe Owe from LA, dog. Sonny Styles from Ohio State, dog. Trey Amos, Mikey Sanders still. 2 good young corners. I think that defense is younger, faster, and going to be better than it was last year. Then you get a healthy Jaden Daniels throwing the ball to Antonio Williams, who was one of my favorite route runners coming out of Clemson, with Terry McLaurin. All of a sudden, one of the best O-lines, when healthy in the NFL. I think the Eagles are losers because of how good that division has become. And a lot of their moves feel lateral, stagnant. But again, I do think they had a terrific draft. I think Mekhi Lemon is a weapon. I think that Eli Stowers is a better tight end than Kenyon Sadiq right now. So I think the Eagles did have a really good draft. And the tackle they took from Miami is 6'9". He's going to sit behind Lane Johnson for 2 years, come in and give you all pro stuff right away, because that's just what the Eagles do. So I wouldn't be worried if I'm an Eagles fan. I'd be more worried about how good the rest of the division is looking, and I wouldn't be worried about your guys unless this new offensive coordinator comes in and Jalen Hurts still sucks. Then you might have a problem at head coach because you can't keep an offensive coordinator and you can't hire an offensive coordinator to help hone in Hurts' skill set. And you might have a problem at quarterback if Jalen Hurts can't get it done this year, because you got carried by Saquon. Let's be honest. You got carried by Saquon and the best defense in the NFL to a Super Bowl. He played really, really good in that Super Bowl, but there was never really any game pressure on him because that game was over by halftime. The Chiefs didn't cross half field. Now there's more pressure on him, literally and figuratively. Like, there's more pressure on him because their offensive line isn't as good as it has been. There's more pressure on him because of all the outside noise regarding him and A.J. Brown and all of the noise talking about, oh, he's not that good, blah, 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 whatever, not a top 5 quarterback. And then you also play in Philadelphia with one of the most passionate fan bases in the world. Yeah, there's more pressure on him literally and figuratively. Maybe that's a little bit concerning, and we'll see, man. But I just think the Eagles are losers because of how much better the rest of the division got, and they didn't do shit. But those are the biggest winners and losers in the NFC, man. Hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button if you made it this far. Comment down below what you guys think. I've got glasses on, chat. I'm so tired, boys. I'm giving you everything I got. It's 2:57 in the morning. I went live on TikTok. I didn't fucking say anything, and I got restricted. I don't understand how I get restricted so easily on TikTok. It's a fucking joke. They're so soft. I didn't even say anything. They don't put people in my live anymore. I'm stuck at 15 viewers. I don't even curse. I don't even bully anybody. Boom, restriction for harassment. Go fuck yourself, TikTok. Seriously, it's so frustrating. So fucking frustrating, man. Oh, and I'm fucking tired. And this shit, I'm getting pissed off. I turned the AC on in my house. The AC isn't fucking working. I'm sweating my balls off, okay? I come home today from court where I sat for 3 fucking hours just for the dumb... Oh, time out. My time. Let's take a breather here. I went up to the district attorney today. I said, hey, I'm pleading innocent. Traffic violation. Simple misunderstanding. I won't outline it's an ongoing court case, so I won't discuss the legal... You know that's what they always say. It's an ongoing case. We can't discuss anything. The district attorney tells me, she's like, here's the plea deal. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna go to trial. And she's like, well, actually, your officer's not here. I'm like, yeah, that's the fucking point, you dumb. That's the point. That's why I'm here. That's why I want to go to trial, because this fucking schmuck's not here. And then she goes, okay, well, we can get him here. We can get him here. What do you mean you can get him here? What do you mean you're going to call him? Hey, there's somebody here. You didn't show up for your court date. Please come in. Listen, this is a reciprocating court date, okay? It's not my court date. It's our court date. He had an obligation to be there. He wasn't fucking there. And you're like, okay, well, you're going to have to wait for us to get him. Well, first of all, and I was ready to wait. I was like, okay, I'll do that, no problem, because I'm going to wipe the floor with this fucking schmuck. He's not a schmuck. He's a good officer who just made a mistake, and there's a simple misunderstanding, but I'm going to belt the ass once we go to trial. But I was standing on business. I was like, I got that. She was like, I didn't say that. I didn't say, when she goes, oh, you're going to have to wait. We're going to have to call him. We're going to have to bring him in. What do you mean we're going to have to get him? You're not his fucking mother. I didn't say that. I was like, isn't that his job to be here? Like, yeah, you can wait. It was the tonality of her voice that just made me grind. That threw me. Oh, I was so furious. But I didn't show that. I said, yeah, I'm ready to wait. What's the latest I'll be here? Worst case scenario. She said 5 o'clock. I was ready to fucking wait. I had work at 4. I can't do that. So I have to go back now for the third fucking time. He wasn't there the first time either, but that was also like, I could have waited out that day, but it was the first day of March Madness. That ain't fucking happening. Get me the fuck out of here, okay? And I was sat there with no book. I brought a book this time, so I was more than prepared to camp it out here. I was more than prepared to wait it out in this fucking courthouse for 6 fucking hours just for them to tell me, this is what we can do, blah, 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 blah. Oh, you don't want to do that? Okay, well, go wait a little bit longer. I'm ready. I know how the system works. I know how to play the game. I'm not going to get rage baited by you guys in the courthouse. The second I leave the courthouse, I'm fucking fuming and I'm emotional, but I'm not going to show that in the court. I can't let them know they're winning. The system is so beyond fucked up. It's just a joke. The court system, when it comes to traffic violations, shouldn't be this fucking difficult. Here's what happened. The officer isn't fucking here, so how are you going to tell me you need to wait for him to get here? That should not be how it works, okay? It's not my court date. It's our court date to discuss the legal proceedings that occurred when I allegedly passed an emergency vehicle at improper speeds. Cap. He wasn't even in the car, and he said he had me going 55 and 35. I looked at him like he's fucking nuts, and he goes, oh, well, actually, I didn't have you on radar. I estimated. And how are you going to write me a fucking speeding ticket, you schmuck? And how are you going to write me? You didn't have me on radar. Your words, not mine, prick. I'm going to Dakota. I'm not going to get flustered by it. I'm going to go. I'm going to belt the fucking ass of these guys. But it just, I can't believe she said that. We'll have to get him here. We'll have to go get him. He's currently out on the streets. It's a court date. He either shows up or he fucking doesn't. How does that make sense? Where am I missing something here? Where am I missing something? Whatever. I'm going to put belt to ass. There was a really, really attractive lady like working with the DA. She was sitting off to the side. And I was like, oh, I'm totally going to put belt to ass on this case. I'm totally going to look like a mini fucking Mike Ross and put belt, and then I'm going to get this girl's phone number. I didn't get her phone number. I got scared. I didn't say anything to her. But I felt like I was standing on business in an appropriate manner. And I was furious when I got back into the car and drove. It's like an hour drive every single time. I'll do it, though. I'll play their fucking game. They want to play these games, I'll play their game. The system's not going to... This is what they do. They go, okay, go wait for 5 hours in this courtroom with no cell phone. They just try to frustrate you. They just try to get you to fold. Well, I'm not fucking folding, bro. I'm seeing it out. I'm seeing it out until this case gets dismissed, and I don't have to pay a single fucking dollar in insurance rates. I don't have to pay a single fucking dollar to the U.S. government so that they can fund. Not gonna go there. Not gonna go there. It's a sports podcast. They're not getting my fucking money. I'll tell you that right now. I will play this game. They fuck with the wrong. I don't have a lot to do. I don't have a lot of obligations. I work at a restaurant and a gym. I can call out whenever the fuck I want, and I'm letting nobody down. Nobody down. I record my podcasts at night. The court's over. The court closes at 5 o'clock. I'm not letting anybody down by waiting it out and beating it. I will win this. I will win this case. You mark it down now. They're gonna try and fuck with me. I'm not gonna get flustered unless they try and take my book. If they're like, no, you can't read this actually. Why? You rage bait detected. Reaction declined. Here, take my book. I'm not moved. Go ahead. I'll sit here quietly. And think about how I want to blow this. Probably shouldn't say that. Not going to say. I don't want to blow anything up. I'll sit here quietly and be angry, but you're not going to see me be angry. Pricks. Seriously. And after I win the case, I'm going to I'm going to look at the district attorney and be like, you are everything that's wrong with the system and you should be ashamed with yourself. That this is the career you chose and this is what you're standing for. You're standing for bullfuck. You are standing for corporate America. You are standing for literally pedophiles, quite frankly. If you support the system, you know what the system is built on? I don't know. Read the Epstein files. Why don't you read the news, buddy? Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Fire Sports Takes podcast. I love you guys so very, 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 very much. And I will talk to you guys in the next episode next week on Monday. And we will be talking about, I don't fucking know yet. We'll probably do an NBA mock draft again. Mock draft Monday later, Rip. I love you guys, man. I'll talk to you guys in the next episode of the Fire Sports Takes podcast.